Hey, head coach Tom Preston here from Full Circle Coaching and Consulting. I'm glad you've chosen to join me today. As the great writer Og Mandino said in his second scroll, can you greet each day with love in your heart? And one of my great teachers in the metaphysical traditions taught me many years ago that the only thing worth asking, the only question worth asking is at the end of a day is, have I loved enough? Right? And so I want to get into this concept of love and greeting each day with love in your heart. And I want to share with you some awarenesses and observations that I've got over the years relative to studying this concept, studying the scroll, and the personal application that I've taken with that. All right. So again, I would offer this in perspective. If you're going to greet each day with love in your heart, then you really have to start out from a place of gratitude. Right? And just as one of my great practice members in my chiropractic practice said years ago, he goes, Tom, any day that you're still breathing above ground is a day worth celebrating. Right? What a simple concept. What a simple thing to say. But also what a genius thing to say. That just the right to be alive, just the privilege of being alive and being able to share, what the greatness that is you, the love that's in your heart with your other brothers and sisters on the planet, so that they can experience your products and services, the gifts that you bring to the world. That in and of itself is enough to start in a state of gratitude. Okay? And from that state of gratitude, it would be commonly accepted doctrine that when you're in a state of gratitude, your heart is open. And that is when you can have love in your heart for your life as it is, with all of its challenges and all its warts and foibles and other things that appear to be going wrong. But one of the sayings we have in our company is that the universe is always conspiring to support you. It's just my misperceptions, or maybe your misperceptions at times, that doesn't see the wisdom of what it is that's actually going on at any given time when some of those strangely disguised gifts called heartache and challenges, come your way. So let's talk a little bit about this concept of going with love and being able to have the privilege, as we said earlier in this recording, to serve the world with your greatness, with your love in your heart. Our offering here at Full Circle is that when you are living according to your values, when you're living authentically according to your values, then what you're sharing, where you're directing your energy of time, where you're directing your energy of love, where you're directing your energy of money, the things that you buy, the products and services you buy. When you're doing that from a place of authenticity, from a place of values, you're doing it with your whole heart. And I would extend that by saying, with love in your heart. So when we talk about this concept of love, I want to draw you just a really simple picture because, we definitely live in the universe in a series of zeros and ones. We live in binary code, okay? Then in this case, when we're talking about, in the physical world at least, we're talking about binary codes. And when we're talking about zeros and ones, and we're talking about this relative to the concept of love, we got to recognize or realize that there's two heads to this coin relative to love. Because most people just go to the concept of loving and serving others, right? But you got to realize that you must also love self, because without love for self, it's impossible to fully love others. And let me explain that, okay? I've interacted with many people in my coaching practice, right, that are literally trying to, give love to others through a fire hose, right? Great big old fire hose, but they're only willing to receive, through a straw. Well, if these two concepts are in fact like two heads of a coin, polar opposites, if you will, but connected, then you must realize that in order to have one, you must have the other. So if you want to truly give more, love more, serve more to others, you must be willing to do the same to self. Two heads of the same coin, right? So if you want to give through a fire hose, you've got to be willing to receive through through a fire hose as well of a similar size. So this is where we're headed now when we're talking about greeting each day with love in your heart. It's talking about starting your day with the remembrance and gratitude that you have the privilege of serving humanity with your gifts, with your products and services. But also, in order to be able to do that as fully as possible, you must be able to receive. So we are big, big fans here at Full Circle of what we call a morning routine, or what I have come to call my morning rituals. Now, the rituals I'm going to describe to you are my intentions, my permutations of how I find this working out. Let me move the head so that you can actually see that word. And again, I want to give you the base concepts here by drawing you like a really, really simple picture of what I think this should actually, the context, if you will, for setting up any sort of a morning ritual. Okay? So what we want to do here is we want to be sure that you are working on and opening your heart, through with your mind. You're also wanting to be doing it with your body, and you also want to be doing it with your sense of self, your spirit, your most authentic self. Because in that state, when you're opening and your love with your mind, your body, and your spirit, then this is where you are really getting connected to Source. Okay, and this is again the other part of this gratitude. It's just gratitude for your life and the chance to be alive in the universe at this time, as it relates to the source vibration, what my friend Lenny calls the spirit that moves through all things, that universal intelligence, that God particle, or however way you frame that, whatever that source vibration is, we get the privilege of doing that with our minds, our bodies, and our spirits. So any morning ritual, in our opinion, really should target all three components, okay? So for me, I start out my morning rituals with a morning meditation, okay? And again, as one of my teachers, Marianne Williamson, said, what is it with you, particularly North American focused or Western culture focused people who think that if you can't meditate for an hour, then it's not worth even doing? She says, you know what, 5 or 10 minutes is better than nothing. And I can definitely be an advocate of that, being a dedicated meditator for, oh, that actually rhymes, a dedicated meditator. But being a dedicated meditator for over 30 years, I can tell you that there are times where I've only taken 5 or 7 minutes, 10 minutes. But I can tell you that that makes all the world of difference. It's certainly a lot better than nothing. Just like I'd suggest brushing your teeth a little bit or once a week is a whole lot better than nothing. So again, in the vein of that, the spirit of that, meditation in whatever format you do. And I certainly have done, very traditional sort of mantra-based meditations, okay? But don't forget that there's also movement-based meditations, okay? There's a walking meditation I learned from my native friends called the Fox Walk, which you can, Google and have a look at that. There's just, sitting and truly just watching your breath is probably one of the most common and oldest verbs of meditation. People often get lulled into thinking too that when they're meditating, the goal is to not have any thoughts. That's not true. You might be able to, with really experience, increase the gap slightly by milliseconds between the thoughts, because your average person has a thought about every 3.7 seconds. Okay, and this is true whether you're a early meditator or you're an advanced meditator. Now, there arguably are some people that are very advanced that can expand this to a longer period of time. I've yet to see the evidence to support that, but I have some friends of mine that believe they can. But again, a goal here is to just quiet your mind, watch your breathing is the very simplest form, as I said just a minute ago, and just be able to connect. Now, I would offer that this is good for your mind, your body. There's tons of research showing how it decreases stress and all that stuff. And then also your spirit, okay? It's a three-pronged piece, all right? So after I've done my meditation, which varies from, 5 or 10 minutes and its worst to 20, 30 minutes, then I get into my Taoist Tai Chi, okay? And this is, in my opinion, this is basically like yoga in motion, is how I often describe that. And following my Tai Chi, I do, and I integrate it together, I do yoga. And this, again, takes me about 25 to 30 minutes for my particular routine, right? Okay, so once I've done that, then I get in and I do some form of a physical workout. Okay, and I vary it between cardio-based things like biking and hiking and running, and high-intensity interval training to resistance-based TRX bands and dumbbells and body weight resistance and that kind of stuff. Which again, commonly I target this for another 30 to 45 minutes. Okay. Now again, if it's a perfect world, I'll get that workout done in nature. Okay. Because nature is also a great grounding spot for me. And I would offer that these things they're obviously good, for the body, but they're also good for the mind. And then because those two things together culminate into the sense of self or spirit, I would say that these pieces are, good for all aspects of self as well. Now, there are people that are probably sitting there going, wait a second, I don't have time to do that. Tom, you're talking about doing like an hour and a half or more of rituals. Yeah, I am. Because I want to be able to serve through like a pipeline, like a gas pipeline, not just through a fire hose. And I know that until I'm willing to give to self, that I can't do that. So as I've made this transition from not doing, loving self as much as I do now, I've gone to be at a much higher level of service to be in a better, to anybody that I interact with, whether it's to my wife or to my children or to my friends or to my team members or to my clients or whatever. Definitely serving at a higher level. So that early morning time, because I've always been an early morning guy, that's my time. That's my time to feed me and love me. And then as a result of that, as I said, earlier on, then I can go out and I can love the world, through my products and my services, and serve at the highest level. So again, I encourage you to definitely look at a way to have some form of a morning routine, okay? Make sure that it's something that's going to feed your mind, your body, and your spirit so that you can, in fact, receive and be able to give to both self and other, so that you get the privilege of sharing your best self, your most authentic self, the self that only your best friend or your partner knows about, right? So that you get the privilege of being able to greet each day with love in your heart and share that love with others. Thanks so much for the time. I look forward to hearing from you relative to how you have greeted each day with love in your heart through developing some sort of a morning routine.
Our mission at Full Circle Coaching and Consulting is to awaken individuals to the power of authentic expression and help them realize their full potential, both personally and professionally. Without a cookie-cutter approach, we help you design and manifest your most authentic dream life, resulting in you earning more money and you having more time with your loved ones. You don't need to learn anything new in order to have the business and life you desire. You need to unlearn and shed all the unsupportive beliefs and behaviors that are subconsciously sabotaging your success. We help you connect with that factory-installed inner guidance and then reverse engineer the steps it takes to go from where you are to where your heart is calling you to be. This is our specialty. Let us help. When you're ready, connect with us through the links in the description below or go to our website at fullcirclecoachingandconsulting.com.